seriously, there always needs to be a leader. If not, there are consequences. Even ancient Greece, where the most true form of democracy that ever existed, there were still leaders. Can someone tell me what a team would be like without a leader?
The team would be aimless. Basically, no order would be heading that team.
Okay, good. Aimless. That's a really good answer. Thank you. So next would be involvement of all the members. Can someone real quick before I go over this tell me why it would be important for every member to be involved?
Because if every member is one member of the team is not putting their all in something, then the goal that the team is setting won't be.
Yeah. So I sort of like to think of a relay race. You may have the 3 fastest runners on Earth facing a high school team. But if the 3rd fastest runner decides to walk the last bit, the high school team can win. You're only as fast as your slowest person, and it really shows. So basically, teams harness the power of each person, and when it's not all harnessed, then the team pays. Good morale. Morale is extremely important for a team. If your team doesn't have a good sense of morale, you're not gonna work well together. You're gonna start breaking apart. So on the second line it says when team succeeds, the morale is high and teams develop a special quality called esprit de corps, which is a sense of team pride, fellowship, and loyalty. So when you succeed, you feel pride, fellowship, and loyalty. When you fail, then your morale goes down, and you start to feel worse. So you have to find ways to keep your morale up, even if not everything's going well. Because when a team has a good morale, then the team is going to do well, or at least better. Open communications. Ineffective communication and use of meeting time are the 2 biggest complaints people have about team leadership. This is maybe the most important thing. If you can't communicate, you can't work together. Can someone tell me what a team would be like if no one could communicate in any way?
Nothing would get done.
Yeah, everyone would be aimless. Everyone wouldn't know what to do. There wouldn't be any way to succeed. It would basically become individualized, and that's what happens when you don't have any communication. And it becomes individualized even if you do have communication, but you don't keep up with it if you don't use your communication well. Mutual respect is definitely important for a team. When teams don't have respect, they tend to start to fall apart. So, who here has watched the second Monster Inc.? The one where Mike and Sully are at college. Well, in that one, they start off despising each other. There's no respect. They're just using each other to meet or to get into that little, I'm trying to think of the word, that course. So because of that little bit of that no respect that they had, their team almost fell apart immediately. It was only after they started to gain respect for each other and use each other's advantages in like what they have and putting together that their team started to do well. It's also favoritism or failing to communicate or respect and show dignity to each individual of the team. If you show more respect to one person of a team, the other people are going to have less respect for you. you need to make sure to have respect for everyone. Now, there are, of course, going to be people that more people respect, such as the quarterback. You hear about them all the time. But the quarterback wouldn't be able to get his job done without the center. So everyone needs to have respect for the other person, or it's all going to fall apart. Because no one likes to work when no one's respecting each other. A fair way to resolve conflicts. This would generally come down to the leader of the team, because it is so it varies so much how to resolve conflicts. Sometimes you have to give one person the whole thing, sometimes you can compromise, but there are going to be conflicts, and someone needs to learn how to handle it and handle it well. Can someone give me an example of a good way to resolve a conflict? Anyone other than Richards?
Yes, sir. Like when I resolve a conflict, I need to make a plan on how this on how we should be able, like, for a situation like this, like it is getting harder. So
Yeah.
that's that.
I should have asked beforehand. Can y'all see the screen? My slides?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. I forgot to ask earlier. Yeah. If you don't resolve it correctly, your team can also fall apart. If you show complete favoritism toward one person and give him basically everything all the time, then it's really going to demoralize your team. And no one's going to respect you.
Nope.
So those are the 7 main things for teams and what they need to be built on. Those are the foundations of teams. Without any one of those, then the team will be far less effective and won't be able to get jobs done, won't be able to complete their goal. So now I'm going to talk about the pitfalls of a team. So can someone tell me real quick what they think a pitfall of a team would be?
I think it would be like everything's all over the place. Nobody's communicating with the others. They're not.
So a lack of communication.
Yeah, nobody's following the directions that they're given.
Okay, good. Anyone else?
Bad morale.
Yeah, bad morale. Okay, so the first one is teams can be unwieldy. Or I don't know how to pronounce this. Unwieldy, one of the two, I think. Basically, there's gonna be conflict between members. The relationship between a team is sometimes gonna be dysfunctional. There are gonna be conflicts. People are gonna get in fights. People are gonna disagree. But so it's gonna happen. But as a leader, you're gonna have to figure out how to resolve it, how to keep the team as unwieldy as possible, how to help keep everyone together. There's also teams pressure individuals to conform. Can someone give me an example of this within their life?
Can you repeat that question?
Can someone give me an example of teams pressuring you to conform to their standards or to them?
I mean, it could happen in like a political standpoint because you have like different ideologies. When like one person joins a group that like upholds a certain set of like rules and values, they might pressure you to like think how we think, how the rest of us think, but you may not want to conform to their ways.
Yeah. So, have you ever considered the military or CAP? So, they make us all wear uniforms, to sort of show respect and to so that we're all similar. Like organizations like these are very conformist because they figured out the most effective way to do it, or what they assume to be the most effective way. Now, conformity itself isn't necessarily the issue because the military, army, the CAP is built on conformity. It's designed like that because it's a good way for what it is. But when it comes down to other organizations, and even still within the military, it can get too conformist. People start to lose their or creative thinking skills. People start to follow the book too much, maybe, and may not be able to create their own ideas. They become obsessed with doing what basically the team wants. So military is pretty good with this, but it does happen, especially outside of the military. Sometimes the conformity in itself is not bad, but it can get rid of creative thinking. So you just need to be careful when you are, or you need to be careful not to conform completely because you will lose creative thinking skills. Free riders. Can someone give me an example of what a free rider is, based off the top of their head? Anyone other than Richards?
Daniel, someone was gonna say something.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna say in the previous slide that I guess the conformity could apply to sports teams in a way, because I remember back in high school when I used to play soccer, I primarily played a more defensive style, but I kind of conformed to the more aggressive way the other two players are performing at.
Yeah, that's definitely true. In sports, you play how the rest of your team plays. Now, as a team, you want to be in sync with each other, but you want to make sure that you're not depriving yourself of some of your skills or something, trying to be too much in sync. That's a good example. So can someone give me an example of a free rider?
An example of someone that's a free rider is someone who's like in a I've seen this happen a lot in school, but like group projects and things like that, they don't really carry their weight.
Yes. School. I've been homeschooled. I've been taking college classes and stuff, but I haven't really had the high school experience, and I haven't had to do these group projects like you guys have. But I have heard stories of people just free riding off of it completely. It's like, in a small group of 3 people, one person will literally just do nothing and still get the A because the other 2 people worked on it. So I know that this is definitely an issue in school. It's an issue in a lot of teams. You'll see it on occasion, but when there's a free rider, they slow you down. They don't help you. Free riders slow you instead of speed you up. And groupthink occurs when team members seek unanimous agreements in spite of facts pointing to another conclusion. Survivor, the TV show Survivor, every episode they had to vote someone out. And so they, as a group, had to decide. There's often one leader who decides how everything's going to go down that night. And a lot of people may disagree, but they want to be within the group. They think that if they disagree, they're going to be out of the group, and now they're on the outside, which means they can get voted out. Now, this doesn't always happen, but it's common on the show Survivor, and it's common everywhere. You think that if you start to groupthink, you will be on the inside of the group. If you stop group thinking, then they're going to start kicking you out because you're different than them. So you just need to be careful not to groupthink, because then it get rid of different views. It can be fine for a while, but then when a situation comes, you're all thinking the same thing, or you're not willing to say what the real solution is because you think you'll be ousted. And then last, lack of accountability. If if everyone on the team is in charge, no one is in charge. If everyone shares responsibility, no one owns the responsibility. This sort of goes along with what I said about the democracy in Greece and the leaders needed. If no one is in charge, or if everyone is in charge, then people start to do whatever they want. They don't feel obligated to go do their part. They want to do what they want. And so when stuff fails, no one takes responsibility for it, and everyone shares responsibility when it and gets completed. It's really a pitfall because it lacks leadership. When you lack leadership, everything just starts to go down. I don't know how to put that. Does anyone have any questions?
No, sir.
If no one has any questions, I'll hand it back to Lieutenant Daniels.